more about some of your life goals and how we can talk with girls who are teenagers at this point in time about making solid decisions, about being strong and courageous in their lives. If you have some advice for young women.
How long do you have?
I know,
I can
exactly. I
talk
know we're
about
going to
this
have to
all.
do the 101 quick
Yeah,
version.
right. Since I teach communication, one of the things that I really, really nail into my students' head, or at least I try to, is self-talk. How you talk to yourself. But even before that, I also teach a section of family communication. And I tell my students, because most of them aren't parents yet, I say, most of you probably will be parents or want to be parents. I say, watch every single thing you say to your kids because your voice will become their voice someday. So even if you just model behavior, like if your mom and you think you look fat in these jeans and you say, oh, I feel fat or I look fat, or even if you don't say anything but you're looking in the mirror, they're watching you, and so that's where all kids, male or female, but especially as females, we get all these messages about who we are from our parents, from our peers, from the media, and so many of these messages are negative. And so it's much easier to start from scratch and build a good self-esteem than it is to, once you feel bad about yourself, to try to rebuild that. I mean, it can be
Mm-hmm.
done, but it
Mm-hmm.
is more difficult. So, for anyone who, I think that's actually the root of everybody's problems in the world is that they don't love themselves enough. We're constantly measuring ourselves against some standard that our culture tells us that we should be, especially in terms of beauty. And, I know young girls struggle with body image and, I'm not as pretty as the movie stars or the models. And, everybody's unique and everybody's different. And there are only so many things you can change. And so it really starts with accepting and loving yourself. And, I think that if everybody did accept and love themselves more, that they would be happier and everyone would be happier and get along better. But,
Agreed. And I feel like the constant messaging with the media really is counterproductive and counterintuitive to some of these things and these thoughts that these girls have. How do you think girls 11 to 17, let's say, or 11 to 19 years of age can implement change in their lives so that they maybe shut out some of those noises and some of that constant voice that they're hearing on social media or
yeah.
on television or wherever it may be, so that they can kind of implement change and maybe ignore some of those negative messages.
Yeah. Well, you brought up social media, which is a huge culprit too. I mean, like when we grew up, we didn't have social media. And now it's so much easier for people to bully other kids because they don't have to look at them. They just send them a tweet or and it's sad, but I think that it does start with disconnecting yourself from social media. I mean, maybe not completely, but just, you don't have to be on it so much. I read a statistic somewhere that I think I don't know if the average person or average college student is on social media like 4 to 6 hours a day. I mean, that's so much.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine how much you're getting programmed. They even find too that people's self-esteem has gone down since, or like more time you spend on social media, because I
Yeah.
have this friend who calls it fake book, because everybody has the perfect husband and the perfect kids and the perfect life. And, for kids, I'm sure everybody, oh, this person has a boyfriend and this person got a new car. And so it's not all real. And I think that's what kids, especially girls, need to remember,
Mm-hmm.
that everything they're seeing on social media is not real. They think it is, but everybody's painting this false sense of self out there and creating an identity that they want to be,
Mm-hmm.
not who they really are.
Yeah.
So if you're constantly comparing yourself to your friends and your friends' life, or actors and models. I mean, how many actors and models are drug addicts or, going to rehab? I mean, it happens all the time. So just because you're beautiful or rich or you have this perfect life on social media does not mean that their life really is perfect. So you need to really look at your own life and ignore as much as you can, disconnect, ignore it. Maybe I don't want to say don't watch as much TV, but just take everything that they see with a grain of salt, and not take
Yes.
it personally and measure themselves against other people.
And I just wanted to thank you for being with us today.
Of course, I've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me.